until the end of the year. If you have any feedback on the show or have something you'd like to see us cover, send us an email at news.today@ntd.com. We'd love to hear from you. For round-the-clock original news coverage, watch us live at ntd.com/live or download.
Welcome to NTD Newsroom. I'm Don Ma. President Trump heads to the Federal Reserve as tensions continue to flare over interest rates and renovation spending. Legendary WWE star Hulk Hogan has died at age 71. We have more details on Hogan's life and career coming up. A House panel votes to subpoena the DOJ and high-profile Democrats and Republicans over the Epstein files. Columbia University will pay over $200 million to resolve allegations that it discriminated against Jewish students. Where is the legal line between protest and anti-Semitism? We talked to a legal analyst. UnitedHealth is under a Justice Department investigation. The probe centers around the insurance company's Medicare Advantage plans. A fresh, uplifting vision in entertainment. We talked to the creators of the world's first streaming platform dedicated to uplifting traditional values.
This is NTD Newsroom, live from our global headquarters in New York City.
Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. Legendary WWE star Hulk Hogan has died. The pro wrestler was 71 years old. Authorities responded to a call this morning in Clearwater, Florida about a cardiac arrest. Police said Hogan was pronounced dead at a hospital. Hogan, whose real name was Terry Bollea, was one of the biggest stars in pro wrestling. A main draw for the first WrestleMania in 1985, Hogan became an icon in the WWE. Hogan faced off opponents like Andre the Giant, Randy Savage, The Rock, and even company vice chairman, chairman, Vince McMahon. Hogan would win at least 6 WWE championships and was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2005. WWE posted on X calling Hogan, quote, one of the pop culture's most recognizable figures. Hogan helped WWE achieve global recognition in the 1980s. WWE extends its condolences to Hogan's family, friends, and fans. With tensions running high, President Trump heads to the Federal Reserve today. The White House says Trump will visit the Fed at 4 p.m., but didn't say whether he'll meet with Chairman Jerome Powell. Trump on Tuesday called out Powell once again, saying he thinks Powell's done a bad job. The pair have clashed over interest rates. Trump wants them cut, saying high rates are making it tough for Americans to buy homes. White House officials have also criticized the Federal Reserve over its handling of renovations to 2 historic buildings in Washington, which have run $700 million over budget. The Fed responded to the criticism, saying that major systems in both buildings, whose construction dates back to the 1930s, are obsolete and need of replacement for health and safety reasons. A report by the Government Accountability Office released yesterday finds the Trump administration illegally froze federal funding for Head Start grant programs. The program provides education and health services to low-income children. The report says between January and April this year, the Department of Health and Human Services significantly reduced funding for the programs. According to the report, funds appropriated by Congress can only be suspended for emergency situations. While the funds have now been paid out, the watchdog says it will continue to monitor the ongoing legal process. A federal appeals court has ruled President Trump's order to end birthright citizenship in some cases unconstitutional. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals upheld a previous ruling that blocked the order from taking effect nationwide. The panel of judges voted 2-1 in favor of the earlier decision. The ruling preserves a nationwide injunction first issued by a federal judge in Seattle. The Supreme Court has since restricted the power of lower court judges to issue orders that affect the whole country, known as nationwide injunctions. But the Ninth Circuit said this case met an exception. The dissenting judge argued that states don't have the legal right to sue over the executive order. A man charged with attempting to assassinate President Trump last year at his Florida golf course returned to court today. once again seeking to represent himself. Ryan Ruth first made the request earlier this month during a hearing in Florida before federal judge Eileen Cannon. The request, made orally and under oath, came a day before Ruth submitted a typed letter. In the letter, he said that he and his attorneys were a million miles apart and that going forward he would represent himself. Ruth is scheduled to stand trial in September. The judge told Ruth earlier this month that she doesn't intend to delay the September 8th start date of his trial, even if she lets him represent himself. House lawmakers voted to subpoena the Justice Department to turn over Epstein files and for several high-profile figures, both Democrats and Republicans, to testify. This as the DOJ's Deputy Attorney General is meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell today. NTD's Melina Weisskopf has more on the latest congressional action of the Epstein files.
Yesterday's vote was out of a House subcommittee. It targets the Justice Department as well as several high-profile Republicans and Democrats. For example, it subpoenas former President Bill Clinton, and then Republican Congressman Scott Perry also included a motion to subpoena many more high-profile Democrats and Republicans, like former Attorney General Bill Barr, as well as former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton.
They had a relationship with Maxwell. I don't know what that relationship was. I never thought that we would be questioning the Clintons and others on with respect to the Epstein files, but the Democrats voted in a bipartisan manner yesterday to do that.
There should definitely be a subpoena for those files. The decision was made to refuse to release the files, smacks of a cover-up.
Now, it was initially a Democrat motion that did get the support from a handful of Republicans on that panel. House Speaker Mike Johnson has repeatedly said that Republican leadership is for getting these files released, but that they want to do it the right way. Here's his response to critics who say that Republicans are working against the effort to get these files released.
But they deserve the space to do that in the way that it is supposed to be done, and they are. A thorough, judicious, meticulous review to truly protect innocent people who suffered.
Now, since this vote was just out of committee, the next step is to move it to the full floor for a vote, but we likely won't see any more action on this, at least for the next month, because lawmakers have left D.C. for their August recess. Reporting from Capitol Hill, Melina Weisskopf, NTD News.
House Republicans are seeking to launch a new investigation into the January 6th Capitol breach. That's according to House Speaker Mike Johnson. The proposed panel would focus on security and intelligence failures and revisit how the first House investigation was handled. House Republicans say the original committee was politically driven and left out key facts. A vote on the resolution is expected after the August recess. It would fall under the authority of the House Judiciary Committee. A new task force is targeting the alleged weaponization of the intelligence community. The Justice Department says it will evaluate evidence made by Public Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. NTD's Daniel Monahan has the details.
The Justice Department yesterday announced the creation of a new task force to investigate claims of political abuse within the intelligence community. The move follows explosive allegations from the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, who unveiled findings during a White House briefing.
The stunning revelations that we are releasing today should be of concern to every American. This is not about Democrats or Republicans. This has to do with the integrity of our democratic republic and American voters having faith that the votes cast will count.
Gabbard says there is irrefutable evidence that details how former President Obama and his national security team ordered the creation of an intelligence assessment they knew was false. Gabbard says a newly released report shows in great detail how they manufactured findings from what she called shoddy sources and suppressed evidence and credible intelligence that disproved their false claims. The intelligence director says they also disobeyed traditional tradecraft intelligence community standards and withheld the truth from the American people.
They conspired to subvert the will of the American people who elected Donald Trump in that election in November of 2016. They worked with their partners in the media to promote this lie, ultimately to undermine the legitimacy of President Trump and launching what would be a years-long coup against him and his administration.
For years, Trump and his allies faced investigations and allegations centering around claims that Russia had interfered in the 2016 presidential election in order to boost his run for the White House. Some critics dismissed the report as contradicting the findings of a 2020 bipartisan report from the Senate Intelligence Committee. Senator Mark Warner called Gabbard reckless for releasing it, saying the report was partisan. Daniel Monahan, NTD News.
A spokesperson for former President Obama responded to the allegations, saying nothing in the document released last week undercuts the widely accepted conclusion that Russia worked to influence the 2016 election, but did not successfully manipulate any votes. Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins announced today that the Department of Agriculture, or USDA, is reorganizing. The department will relocate much of its Washington, D.C. workforce to 5 regional hubs and vacate several buildings, with no more than 2,000 workers remaining in the D.C. area. Rollins said the department is refocusing its core operations to better align with supporting American farming, ranching, and forestry. The decision also aligns with President Trump's effort to reorganize and reduce the size of the federal government. Rollins assured that all critical functions of the department will continue uninterrupted. Columbia University will pay over $200 million to settle federal claims of discrimination against Jewish employees and students. The agreement follows months of controversy, protests, and suspended funding. Here are the details.
A resolution to months of conflict over campus protests at Columbia University. The university has agreed to settle with the federal government. Columbia says the settlement includes a $200 million payment to the federal government, plus an additional $21 million to resolve employment discrimination claims. In exchange, Columbia regains access to hundreds of millions of dollars in federal funding that had been cut off after multiple agencies found the university failed to protect Jewish students. The Departments of Justice, Education, and Health and Human Services said Columbia has shown continued inaction in the face of persistent harassment of Jewish students. According to Acting University President Claire Shipman, the agreement will help restore the university's research enterprise and protect its autonomy. In a letter to members of the Columbia community, she stressed the settlement is not an admission of wrongdoing, but she acknowledged the impact of anti-Semitic incidents on campus. She said the university is committed to create a safe, respectful environment, adding it will work on multiple fronts to combat all forms of hatred and intolerance. Earlier this month, the university agreed to a number of policy changes. It also cited action it has taken, including suspension or expulsion of students who violated rules during protests. Columbia will also update its definition of anti-Semitism and expand training on civil rights law. In addition, the university agreed to follow laws banning race-based hiring and admissions. President Trump praised Wednesday's deal, calling it a victory for civil liberties. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi hailed the agreement as a message that no university is above the law. According to the university, the settlement was carefully negotiated to avoid losing accreditation, federal funding, and visas for international students. Acting President Shipman says she hopes the Columbia community is ready to reset and focus again on academic rigor and respectful debate.
Columbia University will pay $221 million to resolve allegations that it discriminated against Jewish students. This will be in exchange for the restoration of federal grants. And in March, several government agencies announced grant cancellations that totaled around $400 million. Columbia University was one of the most active campuses involved in pro-Palestinian protests that swept the United States in 2024. Joining us now to discuss is legal analyst Bobby Ann Cox, civil rights attorney and fellow Brownstone Institute. Good afternoon, Bobby Ann. Good to see you again. So this level of financial penalty settlement, $221 million, is it significant?
Well, excuse me, in the scheme of things, $221 million is certainly a lot of money. However, when you look at what Columbia University is getting for that $221 million penalty, it's not really going to be very onerous for them. First of all, they receive approximately $1 billion with a B, $1 billion in federal grants. And the $400 million in federal grants that were frozen by the Trump administration back in March, that was just a portion of the approximately $1 billion that they do receive annually in federal grants. So when you take that information and then you add it to the fact that Columbia University has an endowment of approximately 14 or 15 billion with a B, $billion, the $221 million penalty or fine that they're paying isn't really going to injure the university or be, it would probably I would say it would be a slap on the wrist for them. But the thing that we should really look at here is that this is something that's probably going to deter other universities from stepping into this same arena of not punishing students and who are acting in an illegal manner, violating federal law, violating other students' civil rights and teachers and staff civil rights. So we have to see this as more of a penalty for Columbia University, but also a warning to other universities.
Okay, you said it's a slap on the wrist. Why do you think the Department of Justice and other agencies opted for a settlement? And your thoughts on Columbia not admitting to wrongdoing in the settlement?
Right. Well, it's really how you read the statement that Columbia University's acting president, Shipman, put out about this settlement. She did admit that Columbia did need to and does continue to need to change their policies, to change how they deal with these situations. So in that sense, there is an admission, although she does start her statement by saying that they're not admitting any wrongdoing. I think what she means there is they're not admitting that they intentionally violated federal laws. But she goes on in her statement to say that the university recognizes that they do need to make changes. They are making changes. They have already started making some of those changes.
So Columbia University last week agreed to adopt the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance definition of anti-Semitism, as well dedicated Title VI, Title VII coordinators, and expanded university-wide education and training initiatives. So what are your thoughts on that? Is that going to improve things?
Well, if they actually do carry out what they say they're going to do, yes, I do think it will improve things because now we have a commitment by Columbia University, its administration, its staff, to move forward, follow our federal laws, and do what universities are supposed to do, and that is be a forum for open discussion, not a one-sided discussion that allows radical students and radical ideas to overtake university, whether it's the quad on the university or the library, which we saw happen back on May 7th of this year, when approximately 100 students took over Butler Library at Columbia University, on a study day when other students were trying to study for final exams. We can't allow this type of behavior. So if they do actually implement and follow the guidelines that are laid out in Title VI, Title VII, these federal laws that are in place to protect people's civil rights in our country, then I do think it will make a difference. And according to Columbia University, they have already started to make some of these changes. And they have, according to Secretary McMahon, she has stated on an interview recently, as this morning, that Columbia will have someone on their campus trying to enforce this, trying to oversee it, trying to make sure these changes actually do happen. And as well as the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice will have a dedicated person that will be in contact with Columbia University, trying to oversee and implement these changes and make sure change is actually happening.
So I just want to build on your point where you said the protests were happening and people were studying. Is there a legal line between protest and anti-Semitism? Where is that line drawn?
Yeah, there's absolutely a line. So, people like to say, especially in these past couple years of unrest with a lot of protests around our country, people like to say, oh, we're just exercising our First Right Amendment to free speech. Yes, absolutely. You have a First Amendment right to free speech in this country. And thank goodness we do. However, that doesn't mean that you can say whatever you want, do whatever you want, wherever you want. You do have to still operate within our laws. So, a group of 100 students going into Butler Library at Columbia University back in May and, chanting, being loud, hanging Palestinian flags in the library, defacing library property, that is not free speech. That is not expressing yourself in a calm and a First Amendment protected right. No, that's not the way to do it. And we saw last year when there were students at Columbia University, blocking Jewish students from getting to their classes. They locked some students inside a building and they were trying to get into the building. They defaced university property. They broke windows. You cannot intimidate other people and just turn to the First Amendment and call that, well, it's just me expressing my First Amendment right to freedom of speech. Because you know what? The person that you're harassing also has rights under our Constitution to not be harassed, particularly based upon their religious beliefs or their race or their national origin. So it definitely is a fine line in some cases, but not in this case. Taking over a library and defacing property of the university is not your First Amendment right.
So then, can you comment on Columbia's new protest restrictions? For example, banning masks and limiting protests near academic buildings.
Right. So what they're doing here is they're trying to say, yes, if you want to have your First Amendment right to free speech, you want to protest and make your voices heard, that's fine and good, but you have to do it within certain parameters so that you don't infringe upon other students' rights to have, like we said in this instance, the ability to study for your exams. So we can see some restrictions happen. And I do think in this instance, those are appropriate restrictions. They're saying you can't wear a mask when you do a protest at the university from now on. Okay, well, they're doing that because they want to be able to identify students if they are acting in an illegal or unruly manner that steps over that line and goes from your First Amendment right of free speech to something that's illegal or harassment or violating a federal law. So I think that these implementations of these restrictions on protests are, from what I've read so far, are pretty common sense restrictions. They are still letting them voice their opinions, just not in a disruptive and illegal manner.
Okay, just one last point. Can you talk to us about where is the line between federal oversight and academic autonomy?
Yeah, so that is a slippery slope. There is a concern there that, the government can step in and say, well, you can do this, you can't do that, you can say this, you can't say that. There's definitely a slippery slope. And we do have to be careful in how much power we give the government to do something like that. Our Constitution is written such that the people control the government. We are supposed to be in charge. The politicians, the bureaucrats, they are not in charge. They are supposed to be carrying out the will of the people. So when we get to a point where the government is laying down regulations and restrictions that are too stringent, that becomes an illegal situation. That is unconstitutional. If the government wants to restrict citizens in some manner, they have to have not just a good reason, but they have to prove that this is the least restrictive way that they can achieve the goal that they want to achieve as the government. So it is a concern. We do have to keep our eye on it. The government does not have free reign to do whatever it wants, whenever it wants. And we have to just remember that, because a lot of people, particularly in the past few years, have turned over our autonomy, our power over the government, and just kind of let the government do whatever they want. But that's a dangerous place to be.
Well, Bobby Ann, always well said. Thank you so much for coming on again this week.
Yes, thanks. Nice to see you again.
Okay, coming up, UnitedHealth is under a Justice Department investigation. The probe centers around the insurance company's Medicare Advantage plans. We have that and more when we come back.
Hi, I'm Ty Pennington, here for Choice Home Warranty. They protect my home from expensive repairs, and they can do the same for you. No matter if it's your refrigerator, plumbing, or more than 20 other home systems and appliances, Choice Home Warranty has saved millions of homeowners a whole lot of money. For a low monthly fee, you get their nationwide network of trusted local technicians with plans that cover repairs and replacements done quickly and the right way. No more headaches searching for technicians. No more budget-breaking chaos. Just a peace of mind of having Choice Home Warranty at your service. Call Choice Home Warranty now and save big with their special offer of your first month free and free limited roof coverage. Call now.
Call Choice Home Warranty for your free personalized quote and to get your first month free. Call in the next 5 minutes, and as our special offer, you'll receive free limited roof coverage. Call now to lock in your rate and save big. Call 800-210-6422. 800-210-6422.
I'm Jonathan Lawson. If you're 50 to 85, I have an important message about security. Write down the number on your screen so you can call when I finish. The lock I want to talk to you about isn't the one on your door. This is a lock for your life insurance, a rate lock that guarantees that once you're insured, your rate can never go up at any time for any reason. But be careful. Many policies you see do not have one. But you can get a lifetime rate lock from Colonial Penn. Call this number to learn more. This plan was designed with a rate lock for people on a fixed income who want life insurance that fits their budget and is simple to get. Coverage options start at $9.95 a month, less than 35 cents a day. Act now, and your rate will be locked in for life. It will never increase, guaranteed. This is lifelong coverage that can never be canceled as long as you pay your premiums, guaranteed. And your acceptance is guaranteed, with no health questions. You cannot be turned down because of your health. Call for your information kit and read about this rate lock for yourself. You'll also get a free beneficiary planner. Both are free with no obligation. Don't miss out. Call for information, then decide. Read about the 30-day 100% money-back guarantee. Don't wait. Call this number now.
Call now and you will also get this free beneficiary planner. Use this valuable guide to record important information and your final wishes, and it's yours free just for calling. So don't wait. Call 1-800-357-4821 for your free information. That's 1-800-357-4821. There's no risk or obligation. That number again is 1-800-357-4821. That's 1-800-357-4821. 1-800-357-4821. Call now.
The number of Americans filing new applications for jobless benefits fell to a 3-month low last week. Labor Department data pointed to stable job market conditions. Initial claims for state unemployment benefits dropped to a seasonally adjusted 217,000 for the week ending July 19th. The reduction marks the lowest level of claims since April. Claims have declined for 6 straight weeks and have pulled further away from an 8-month high in June. The unemployment rate remained at about 4%. The Federal Reserve is expected to maintain its benchmark interest rate in the 4% range at a policy meeting next week on Wednesday. The Fed cut rates 3 times in 2024, with the last move coming in December. Major trade talks postponed a meeting between top South Korean and U.S. officials to negotiate tariffs and has been put off. South Korea's finance ministry said today the problem is due to a scheduling conflict for Secretary Bessent.
They initially said the meeting wasn't possible due to an urgent schedule, so we asked when would be the earliest possible time. After that, they got back to us, saying it should be possible soon.
South Korea's finance minister was set to board a flight for Washington today to attend the meeting with Bessent on Friday. Seoul hopes to hammer out a deal that would spare South Korea from 25% tariffs. Pressure on South Korea increased this week after Japan clinched a deal with the United States. President Trump said the agreement with Japan will allow greater market access for American products, including cars and some agricultural products. American beef is making a comeback in Australia. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins congratulated President Trump yesterday on what she called a major trade breakthrough. Australia has announced it will ease long-standing restrictions on U.S. beef imports, expanding access for American producers. Rollins praised the move as another example of market access that President Trump is negotiating. She said Trump is bringing in a new golden age of prosperity. Australia has restricted U.S. beef imports since 2003, citing concerns about mad cow disease. Beef from animals born, raised, and slaughtered in the U.S. has been permitted since 2019, but few suppliers could meet the strict origin requirements. That's because cattle often move between the U.S., Canada, and Mexico without detailed tracking. Under the new policy, Australia will now accept beef from cattle born in Canada or Mexico as long as they were legally imported and slaughtered in the United States. The Justice Department is investigating UnitedHealth over its Medicare Advantage plans. The DOJ is looking into how the company records diagnoses that lead to extra payments. UnitedHealth said it was cooperating with federal investigators. Medicare is a government program that covers medical costs for individuals aged 65 and older. The program also covers individuals with disabilities. Earlier this year, the Wall Street Journal reported that federal officials launched a civil fraud investigation into UnitedHealth's Medicare Advantage plans. Those are privately run versions of the government's Medicare coverage program. The company's United Healthcare business covers more than 8 million people and is the nation's largest provider of Medicare Advantage plans. UnitedHealth stock has fallen more than 40% so far this year. For the first time, Texas state lawmakers met to seek an answer to the deadly flash floods that took at least 137 lives. Here's the story.
We asked those that had the facts. Texas state lawmakers met for a special session on Wednesday to address for the first time deadly flash floods that killed at least 137 people there earlier this month. State Senator Lois Kolkhorst is a member of the Joint Senate-House Committee investigating the preparation for and response to the flooding.
What went right, what went wrong, and I think that moreover, and you hear it, is were the warning systems in place? Were they heeded when they were looking at this anomaly of this tropical storm, how it could interact with a low pressure cell? And the timelines are very important to me. And so, I think we're going to have to look at how we coordinate that better and really saying this is a serious warning, you must get out, seek higher ground.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott said on social media the death toll from the July 4th flash flooding ticked up to 137, ranking it as one of the deadliest U.S. flood events in decades. The high death toll has raised questions about the lack of flash flood warning sirens in hardest-hit Kerr County. Nim Kidd, chief of the Texas Division of Emergency Management, was the first person lawmakers called to testify on Wednesday. He described the vast state's emergency response system as fragmented, with each of the state's hundreds of counties responsible for ordering evacuations. Such an order was not given in the hardest-hit areas earlier this month. Kidd told lawmakers that to improve preparation for natural disasters, he needed better in-house radar systems, better communication systems to warn local leaders and residents, and more resources for evacuations or to assist residents who shelter in place. The legislative committee investigating the floods will next meet in 1 week in Kerr County. The committee will write a report to be forwarded to the full Texas Senate and House to inform possible legislation.
A California congressman is calling for an investigation into how $100 million for Los Angeles fire victims was spent. Representative Kevin Kiley wants a probe into fire aid. The celebrity concert was held days after the catastrophic Palisades and Eden fires in January. Kiley says none of the public donations made it to those in need. He alleged Tuesday on X that the money went directly to numerous nonprofits, many of which have little to do with fire relief. The congressman posted a letter to Attorney General Pam Bondi asking the Department of Justice to investigate. Kiley said he wants to find out where the money was sent and who benefited from the funds. Fire aid organizers with the Annenberg Foundation promised the funds would be used for direct relief. The foundation did not return a request for comment. Coming up, a fresh uplifting vision in entertainment. We talked to the creators of the world's first streaming platform dedicated to uplifting traditional values. Stay tuned.
During high school, I hung with the wrong crowd and I never graduated.
I helped Santiago in many different ways, like all fathers do, because he always wanted to go to college.
I felt a little embarrassed to come back to school, but eventually, once I came here, I knew that it's for a bigger goal.
He was very dedicated, hardworking. He connected with his teachers. He connected with other students. That was one of the key reasons why he was able to keep forging ahead.
It was amazing to see him graduate. This was one thing that meant so much to him, and of course, it meant so much to us too.
With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed. That support is everything.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Being a cowboy, I don't know anything different from when I was 3 or 4 years old. I did tough things. I thought everybody needed to do tough things, and if you didn't, I didn't have time for it. I had a very successful career at a very young age, and life was fast. I was preparing physically. I wasn't doing anything mentally on the inside. And then I got hurt. I wanted to be better as a person, and I really dug into mental health. I start my day with a 20-minute workout. I live life 8 seconds at a time. Horses are so therapeutic. They know what you're feeling. When you're nervous, they're nervous. You won't say it back, but we're pals. I take a lot of responsibility in taking care of my kids, my family, and being there for them. You're gonna have tough days. Everybody does. Find a place to stop and just breathe. Love your mind.
You see certain things get reincarnated in your children. My daughter is very much inspired by my wife's artistic pursuits. So my daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. And if there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops. My dad wasn't around, and I remember riding a bike and falling off and cutting myself, and me never just wanting to get back on it. People ask, how your children learn how to ride a bike, and you didn't. I didn't teach them. I just created an environment where they taught themselves, and all I had to do was be there.
Welcome back. Legendary WWE star Hulk Hogan has died. The pro wrestler was 71 years old. Authorities responded to a call this morning in Clearwater, Florida about a cardiac arrest. Police said Hogan was pronounced dead at a hospital. Hogan, whose real name is Terry Bollea, was one of the biggest stars in pro wrestling, a main draw for the first WrestleMania in 1985. Hogan became an icon in the WWE. Hogan faced off against opponents like Andre the Giant, Randy Savage, The Rock, and even company chairman Vince McMahon. Hogan would win at least 6 WWE championships and was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2005. WWE posted on X calling Hogan, quote, one of pop culture's most recognizable figures. Hogan helped WWE achieve global recognition in the 1980s. WWE extends its condolences to Hogan's family, friends, and fans. President Trump took to Truth Social, posting, quote, we lost a great friend today. The Hulkster. Hulk Hogan was MAGA all the way. Strong, tough, smart, but with the biggest heart. Trump added, quote, to his wife, Sky, and family, we give our warmest, best wishes and love. Hulk Hogan will be greatly missed. And now we're joined in studio by Curtis and Cara Leopard. They're the founders and of the studio, We The Studio. So good to have you guys. It's such a pleasure to have you join us today. So on your show, you know, you have very traditional programs, but before that, you were actually Hollywood veterans. You had a very successful career in Hollywood. You guys made a very bold move to leave that career to step into this project, We The Studio. So to start off, I want to Before we get to our main topic today, talk a little bit about Hulk Hogan. You know, he was more than just a household name. He had such a presence, you know, in the ring, such charisma, and as well in living rooms of many families across America. So any comments you have on his iconic persona, his, you know, shirt ripping, tearing, his catchphrases, any thoughts?
Well, to Hulkamania, I'd like to give a little tribute. A little tribute here. And I got a message for Hollywood. Enough is enough of your woke garbage. What are you gonna do when We the Studios runs wild on you, brother?
Well,
hello. Nice to meet you.
I gotta say, I mean, that's a first on the show. Not expecting very much, I would say, a live action tribute to Hulk Hogan, probably the most Hulkamania way to honor his memory. I think Hulk himself would have given you a Big Brother for that. Any thoughts on his?
He was, you know, childhood icon. You know, I felt like a chapter of my childhood closed today. You know, and it's devastating news.
Yeah. Any thoughts you have?
You know, I find it remarkable that he has passed today, but I do think it's worth acknowledging that he gave his life to the Lord recently, and that all of us can sit here today and know that he's in his loving arms right now. So I find solace in that. And he was a great man. He's inspired my husband, who's actually a wrestler. So God bless him and rest in peace.
Yeah, like President Trump said, he'll be sorely missed. So I want to bring it back to our main conversation today, and that is We the Studio. Can you, just to start off, talk to us, what is it and what is its mission?
So We the Studios is a streaming platform founded by my husband and myself. The inspiration for it was Curtis and I worked in Hollywood. We used to work for major networks, casting and producing reality television shows. And you know, once we became parents, we started realizing that the values were not only lacking, they were non-existent in Hollywood. And we found ourselves in front of the TV really for the first time, watching a lot of programming with our kids, and just realized that TV for children isn't exactly TV for children. There's a lot of messaging that we did not agree with. There's virtually zero value-driven entertainment for families. So we decided to take action and use our skill set, Curtis as a feature film producer, myself as a commercial print music video casting director, to start our own network and production company.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you guys are doing are really important. And I think really it's about choice more than anything. There's just so much nowadays in children's programming where, you know, a lot of parents don't agree with, and they don't have anywhere else to go. And I think you guys probably can very well fill that gap. So on that note, maybe you can talk to us about who is the core audience here for We the Studio.
So our audience, it's women 18 to 45. It's also families, and it's also children. So we're very wide-reaching. I like to say, take the word back from the left. We have a diverse audience, and we really, really love our audience.
Yeah. Anything to add?
You know, it's funny. We left Hollywood originally because of how woke it became, and now we're back 10 years later, getting back into the business because of wokeness. It's spiraled out of control. And you know what? Someone's got to step up, and it's time for us to drop the gloves. We decided to fight back against these people. And we're doing it with cameras, of course, metaphorically speaking.
So, I mean, for everyone who's watching, maybe you can point us to a specific project or a specific program on your platform so they get a sense of what you guys are offering.
So you can find us on our website, wethestudios.com, inspired by our founding documents, We the People. So it's wethestudios.com. We have all of our shows are family friendly. Our flagship show that's doing very well for us is called Raising Reynolds. It's a family based in Kentucky, raising 4 children they adopted from Kentucky foster care. We also have another series that we just completed that's on, it's on a little girl that wants to be famous, but she's value driven. So she wants to become a singer and a dancer, but this is a little girl that our nation's daughters could actually look up to, and that series is called That Girl Lola. We have another series that's debuting tomorrow on our platform, We the Studios, called Mr. Miami and Me, and that is highlighting a single dad raising a little girl, again, to be value-driven, and that you can You know, unfortunately, half of our nation is divorced. Children come from divorced families, but you could still be a single divorced father and be extremely involved in your child's life.
So on that point, can you talk to us about how do you balance entertainment value versus, traditional values?
That's a great question. So our children, our two youngest, are heavily involved in our productions. If we're making family-driven entertainment, families have to be involved. So my husband and I cast, produce, and direct everything together. And it's under the watchful eye of our two sons that are 8 and 11. So we're always looking at it literally from the lens of a child.
Okay, so I want to follow up on a point that Curtis was talking about earlier about leaving Hollywood. Can you elaborate a bit more on that? What was the turning point for you guys, where you just had to say, we can't do this anymore?
So at the time we had 2 kids, we have 4 now. And what we did was we went out, we procured leads from all the major networks to go find particular content that they were looking for. And we actually got a lead that we didn't really like too much. It was go out and find pronoun kids. At the time, we didn't know what that was, right? We didn't know what a pronoun kid was, right? But we just got really disgusted by it. And that's when we decided, you know what, maybe it's time for us to do something different. Take a hiatus from Hollywood. Let's go, raise our kids in the Midwest. And now we have 4 kids. But then it's just, like I said, it's been taking such a spiral in the wrong direction. For the last 10 years, it's been out of control with this wokeness that's been plaguing, our society and destroying our pop culture.
And if you don't mind my asking, what do you mean by woke content? What does it specifically mean to you guys?
So woke, I guess the left, right? They can change definitions on a day. But currently woke means social justice warriors. Maybe you're casting based upon skin color or nationality versus merit. And so what non-woke entertainment is the complete opposite. We cast based upon merit. We cast based upon story. We cast based upon traditional American values. So all of our talent, nobody has a pronoun, and they love our country. And it's many different faiths.
Boys are boys, girls are girls. We're not selling illusions like the left does. We're actually telling the truth, which wokeness is a lie, and it's a cancer.
So, you have a lot of great content on We the Studio, this streaming platform. What are families telling you after they view your content?
So we're hearing 2 things from families repeatedly. They're saying, thank you so much for doing this. And they're saying, how do we get more? And the way you can get more is tell everybody you know about We the Studios. Tell them to subscribe. Scream it from the rooftops, because with more subscriptions, we can continue to reinvest in the content and make more content.
It's only $3.99 a month. It's less than a cup of coffee a month. It's good value.
It is. It's very cheap compared to other streaming platforms like Netflix, which is in the double digits, Amazon Prime Video, and all the others. I mean, this is really a good deal, and you're really getting traditional content that is very healthy for a growing child. So on that note, maybe you can talk to us about how you guys view how media plays a role in shaping the next generation.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you brought that up, because I feel like the general public assumes that, who our legislators are create culture, and it's the complete opposite. Entertainment creates culture. Our kids are wearing what they're wearing to school or to the gymnasium every single day because of what they're seeing in commercials, print, TV shows, and music videos. And if they are always exposed to leftist entertainment and leftist ideologies, they're going to follow that. So entertainment and culture, they go hand in hand. And so we're countering that culture. We're showing great examples of men, great examples of women, and great examples of children.
So it goes without saying, of course, that launching a streaming platform is a huge undertaking. I would imagine you faced some challenges, big or small. Perhaps you can talk to us about some of them and how you overcame them.
So we've probably faced every single challenge you can imagine. We've had cast walk from set. We've had technology difficulties. We've had legal challenges. But at the end of the day, I think it's remarkable in the last 1.5 years what we've been able to accomplish. And I give it to the grace of God, because I'm very hardworking, and so is my husband. But there's really no other explanation for how we got to where we're at today. So I think he's had his hand on us. Curtis, you could probably speak to some more challenges. Probably some of the people closest to us, it's been hard for them because this was a big risk for us financially, and throwing a punch, metaphorically, to Hollywood, it's very scary for a lot of people around us that are close to us. It's like, why are you putting a spotlight on our family? Why are you putting a spotlight on your name? And, you know,
that's the thing is we launched when Biden was president, and you know, we didn't know if Trump was going to win again. We didn't know if we were entering, you know, danger waters at the time. If could we get locked up for doing this kind of stuff? We don't know what the next Biden presidency was going to look like, right? And going into these dark waters, making non-woke entertainment, we don't know what that promised, right? But we did it because God told us to do it. We had to do it. We had to go through the fear and just make it happen.
That was probably the biggest hurdle. We had a lot of fear of the unknown. What were we walking into? What kind of financial stress were we putting on our family doing this? What kind of administration would we be facing? Could we potentially get locked up for making content like this? I mean, those are all real possibilities that do happen in other countries.
And you mentioned this a couple of times. So how does faith play a role in everything that you guys are doing?
It's the foundation for everything that we do. It's the foundation of our marriage, of our parenting, and also our business. We don't claim to be a Christian network, but we do claim to have Christian values. So it is rooted and woven into every single story that we tell. And we hope, you know, our entertainment could educate and inspire and maybe bring some people closer to God.
Okay, I'll just end with this question. You've called We the Studio a platform that is more than just a platform. You've called it a movement. What does that mean?
So it's a lifestyle. We also have a monthly publication called We the Studio's Lifestyle, and it's really a way of life. It is, you know, having a good marriage. It's taking care of your body inside and out. It is consuming good entertainment. You are what you eat, but you are also what you consume, and that goes for your mind and your eyeballs as well. So it encompasses every single thing that we do, and yeah, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah, most importantly, it's a movement for pop culture to promote nuclear family and start creating good content that's actually worthwhile.
Well, Curtis, Cara, thank you so much for you guys' sharing of the journey. It's so incredible to hear that you guys are doing this. And I think on behalf of many families, we thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, coming up, a monster truck's wheel goes flying out of an arena and a live reporter comes to the rescue of a crashed cyclist. We have that and more when we come back.
Shenyun Creations, the streaming platform from Shenyun, featuring world-class dance, past programs, and all original music. Masterclasses, behind the scenes, comedy, and more. Explore shenyuncreations.com.
So at the age of 5, I was sexually molested. I had my first child at the age of 15 and became homeless at the age of 16. The scariest part about not having a place to live was having a child and not having a place to live and not knowing where our meal was going to come from and where we're going to sleep. To be homeless as a teen, I didn't ask for that.
No young person should ever have to worry about having a safe place to sleep at night, or a warm meal to eat, or whether anyone cares about them. 1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year, and that's unacceptable. But the good news is there is an organization making a big difference, Covenant House.
Call or go online now. For a gift of only $19 a month, just 63 cents a day, you can provide hot meals, safe shelter, medical care, and love to more than 2,000 young people who sleep at a Covenant House every night.
For over 50 years, Covenant House has been helping youth in crisis.
It was pretty tough, but Covenant House really helped me and really helped mold me into the woman I am today.
Call or go online right now to safeplacetosleep.org with your gift of just $19 a month. With your monthly donation, you'll receive this soft, comforting blanket as a reminder of the warmth and safety your gift will provide a young person tonight.
I have no words to express how Covenant House changed my life. They gave me the love that I needed. They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding.
Your $19 monthly gift is urgently needed to reach other young people who are facing unimaginable situations. Call or go online to safeplacetosleep.org.
Your support makes the work of Covenant House possible. Thank you for caring.
Hey, have you heard what's happening at Mathis Home? Get new lower prices all summer long with price drop alerts all over the store. They have all the latest looks at unbeatable prices. Like this big sofa with curved arms and 5 plush throw pillows. They dropped the price to just $5.99. That's an incredible value. And with their huge selection, you're sure to find the style that's just right for you. In stock with fast, free delivery. Look for price drop alert tags and save now at your furniture superstore, Mathis Home.
A high-flying monster truck stunt turned shocking when the vehicle's wheel suddenly broke loose and went sailing into the parking lot. We have more.
A crazy caught-on-cam moment at a monster truck event in Washington state captured a tire flying off a performing vehicle and into the parking lot. It happened at an arena in Bremerton as spectators were enjoying some monstrous motoring mayhem. As a truck came down after an impressive aerial stunt, a huge wheel broke loose and hurtled over the venue's wall and into the parking lot, where thankfully it didn't injure anyone but appeared to strike some trees, and that's not all. An image later posted on Facebook showed at least one car that was crushed by the massive runaway wheel. The event's organizers later posted a statement on the incident saying multiple cars were damaged and they were taking steps to reduce similar risks, also saying, quote, "We will always do everything we can to help further the safety of this great sport we all love." Another love of extreme sports led to a rescue operation in California when officials were called to the scene of a skydiver stuck in some power lines. The skydiver's parachute got tangled in the lines and left the man dangling and waiting for help. KOVR says rescuers coordinated with local utility companies to secure the power lines, and the skydiver was safely brought down. Crews say the man suffered only minor injuries and not, more shocking ones. Finally, more people helping people, namely heroic WLS Chicago reporter Christian Picos, who put a live lakefront report on hold when he saw a cyclist collide with a runner. Oh, shoot. Picos ran to the aid of the fallen cyclist, whom he said was okay and refused medical aid before returning to his report.
He's walking it off, but yeah, it's just a scary situation. You got to be careful out here on the trail.
Coming up, the latest on the ceasefire negotiations with Hamas. What is Special Envoy Steve Witkoff saying about the reason for calling back the negotiation team? At least for now. We have that and more after the break.
Divinely inspired traditional oil painting inspires compassion. Artwork created in truth and beauty illuminates a path to goodness. Rediscover traditional art, revive classical culture. We warmly invite oil painters from around the world to participate in the 7th NTD International Figure Painting Competition, a celebration of classical realism. Please visit oilpainting.ntdtv.com.
All throughout your home, appliances and systems just wait for the worst time to break down and leave you with expensive repairs. Unless you have a plan from Choice Home Warranty.
All home appliances and systems have a breakdown clock, and when it expires, it will cost hundreds and potentially even thousands of dollars to fix or replace. That's why every homeowner should have a plan with Choice Home Warranty, like I do. For a low monthly fee, a Choice Home Warranty plan will cover your heating, air conditioning, plumbing, appliances, and more. Don't let an unexpected repair wreck your budget. With Choice Home Warranty, that covered repair is fixed or replaced for you.
Choice Home Warranty has been a great company to work with, and they've taken care of us. I would suggest anybody who lives in a home not to be in a home without him.
Avoid the ticking clock of home appliances and systems breaking down with a plan from Choice Home Warranty. Call now to get your first month free. Call in the next 10 minutes and we'll give you $120 off your first year of coverage. That's $200 in total savings.
With a nationwide network of over 25,000 technicians, I don't worry about how my next breakdown will be handled. With a click of a button, my claim is filed, and Choice Home Warranty starts the clock. They do the legwork, hiring the right technician and handling the cost of covered repairs and replacements. And check this out. For a limited time, you can get 1 month of coverage free. Did you hear me? Free. You can't beat that deal with a sledgehammer. But hurry, this offer is ticking away. Once the clock hits 0, poof, it's gone.
Don't fear the breakdown clock. Get a plan from Choice Home Warranty and get round-the-clock money-saving protection you can count on. Call in the next 10 minutes and we'll give you $120 off your first year of coverage, plus get your first month free. This offer won't last long.
Get your home protected. Call now.
Don't wait for an appliance or system to break down. Call before that happens.
Call 800-983-3523. 800-983-3523.
Kids love it. Parents trust it. Obviously.
Obviously.
Explore GJW.